I wasn't going to do video, but then you could do this. So you might have seen
Right,
that.
you gotta hire.
Yeah, and then I could take a screenshot out of it.
That's nice.
So in yeah, it's an odd thing to come to this part of the world. There are a lot of games being played here, or more so, you're kept out of the game, which is for a guy who's as industrious as I was, and coming here and really having to reinvent myself all the time. Like,
And do you like that? Does that feel good, or is it? a challenge?
I'm adaptable, so I'm not unhappy. I just realized I can see the game. It's so plain to me. But I also saw it in Toronto too. I can tell you exactly how and why and who are in positions of power and for what reason. That does not what's the term, surprise me. I think there's a lot of people who expect things just handed to them because of the lack of preparation by the people that pretend to love them. You like that one? So, you know, you send people into the world. I have a son who's a chef in London, England, at the Dorchester Hotel, 5-star hotel.
Nice.
And the only reason he's there is because I prepared him to take on the unexpected.
Right.
My other son isn't like that and will face challenges as a result.
Oh, it's definitely a skill. Like, I've
But
had some big transitions in my life recently,
Yeah.
and I can see where, because of what I've had to do, what I had to do, there's pretty much, you could throw anything at me and I would find a way, and it would take a lot to rock me now.
Yes. And I went through that in my 30s, specifically in my 30s, like one occasion. I was already adaptable, but I fell in love in such a way
Yeah.
where I knew that there were, basically I call it the death of the dream. So, and there was sort of multiple factors. My body was giving out and I wasn't getting I couldn't get the output out of my body that I once did.
Yeah.
And sort of the illusion of youth continuing, and then also that she was perfect and all that kind of stuff. So when you fall,
And that's what I do, is I help people through that whole process.
Right.
You know what I mean? I help them.
and I did it on my own. I meditated like there's no tomorrow.
That was what got me through my shit too.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, literally hours a day. I'm not exaggerating.
Oh, I'm not. I did 14-hour days.
Yeah, like I just kept going back, and I mean, it healed a lot of shit.
Yeah. And I have this great exercise I do. This is really funny, actually. Here, we'll just. That's not gonna.
You stay away from it, Blue. You nosy guy. The color's pretty here right now.
Yeah, that's that blue there.
With a little bit of golden over on the side.
Yeah. So with something like this, with my, I call it my stylized stuff,
Yeah.
I'd want to pick up all those gulls,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would make them look like paint strokes. So, yeah,
What's your dog's name?
we don't know. He's never said.
What?
He's never told her.
Yeah, okay, fine.
I've taken a lot of pictures of that island. This one, that one, and that one.
Have you gone on to Threads?
Red.
Threads is a
Threads,
new
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
There's a ton of photography stuff on there. It's been good for me because it challenges me. People do challenges.
Yeah,
Well, they'll post something and then they'll repost it and kind of make a cut.
yeah.
But it's definitely pushed me to, you know what I mean? And plus, looking at different art all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kind of.
Stimulating.
Mm-hmm.
although there's also a tendency to simulate.
Yeah, that's not really my, I don't know.
I know why my picture was picked up by this other woman. She was one of my inspirations. And she does this work. She's English actually. She does this type of layering as well, but she does almost more collage.
Yeah.
And then, but when she does stuff in a field or whatever, I know the app she's using.
I have a photographer friend that showed me that, where she will take sometimes like 25 pictures of a bug,
Yeah.
and you will see the detail in it, and that's what she's doing. I don't remember what she called it. There's something else. There's like another name to it because of all of the layers, like a whole other name that she called it.
Yeah.
But,
It was HDR.
No, it's not that. Some fancy name, like
Jesus.
longer. I know.
Like, but she's zooming in for detail, or
She's not. Well, she kind of is. Let me.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm gonna see if I can. I haven't texted her for a while, and I'm pretty sure it's.
I most of what I'm doing is feel. Like, if I could paint, I would make the same painting. Like, I'd make paintings the same. I'd know exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
And the fact that I can do it with my phone is bizarre. But I'm exercising that vision. And it's not my vision of the world, it's my vision of mood. Which is...
I can't find it. It was really cool. She took like 25 pictures of a bug she found in the house, but it was so detailed
Right.
that it didn't look, there was no way it looked like a bug. It looked like it had been sewn. It was so quilted and so detailed that it looked like a fabric.
Right.
Like, it was crazy.
So that's...
But freaking beautiful.
Does she have Instagram?
Yep. I don't know if she put that bug
She'd be
picture
one of
in
your
there.
followers.
Yeah, I can, let's see.
Or vice versa, right?
She doesn't do all of that stuff, but let me see if she has the bug on here. Oh, this is it.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
So
that
macro.
doesn't, she calls it something different though when she takes all the pictures and layers
Is it a
them.
hashtag there? Oh, give me, spell me some words here.
Let's see if I can send, hold on, I got an idea here. I'm gonna cheat.
I saw Naomi.
Share profile, it's gonna be here somewhere. Naomi Maya photography.
Naomi Maya. Oh, there you go.
She's great, she's in Victoria.
So, whoops.
You're okay, bud.
Yeah, it's a lot of bokeh, like, because of the macro, but it's, here we go, focus stack. Yes. So I get it. It's focus stacking, which is a lot like HDR, but rather than light, it's, there you go. That's a pretty cool one. I'm stealing that shot. Do you know how to, do you drop your exposure?
Yep.
This whole, I hate daylight savings time. But
Like I said, it's good for me because I'm normally
pretty
you're not
funny.
going to get me staying out that late. But this year, I go hard during the winter.
yeah. That's funny. I actually run in the water.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm taking a video of it.
Well, that's what actually I've been doing recently because someone reminded me. So the iPhones have like 4K for their video, right?
Yeah.
And then you can take the pictures from that. And so I'm getting better quality from...
Just the video. It's
Yeah.
craziness. And I'll show you something else, by the way. So, because I'm on the highest beta. So if I go video, maybe this is in yours, I don't know. See that white button?
Yeah, that's what I'm...
Yeah, and then
You got the same thing
you can
going
also
on.
do that. You can bang that. That's hilarious. So I run in the water in that bay over there.
Nice.
You know Albert Head?
Mm-hmm.
So I go to Albert Head, and then it's actually a 500K loop that I do.
Yeah.
And I usually do one loop because it's weirdly exhausting, even though it's only a K.
It makes sense that it would.
Yeah. And then but I had a hip surgery, so I use it to mobilize my hip.
You're strengthening everything up, right? Without putting impact on it.
And yesterday I was doing it, and it was bizarre because there was enough of a surge in the waves. There's always the waves, and then there's this weird current that happens. Mm-hmm. And I just let the waves take me, and I was again back to meditating. So that part was pretty surreal. And it's funny, it's happened to me. I did it once going out this way to that island. Mm-hmm. And I had to completely surrender. Even though, like, I can swim and all
mm-hmm.
that, but your feet aren't reaching the ground because I've just made a mistake and gone a little too to the right or whatever, too far to the right. And so I'm surrendering, like in surfing when you get rolled or whatever. You just have to, like, hold your breath, take your time, relax. But that stress, or the sort of appearance of stress, is exactly what you need to get through and then you bring that into your day and everything drops off, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm in the don't give a fuck category now in most of my life.
No, I am.
You know, there's so much pretense about what's good, what is the right thing.
A lot of the people that knew me before, a lot of them don't understand me anymore, and I'm just like, that's okay.
That's
like,
even
my
better.
family and stuff like that. I used to try to keep up with everything and I had my role, and some of them are like pissed now, but I'm fucking happy.
Right.
And I said to my mom recently, I'm 46 years old. Like, you don't think that at some point in my life I decide to I deserve to be happy? I'm like, you knew the life I was living.
Right.
And she's still, guess what her answer is still? But her, like, it still went back to, Mm-hmm. And it's just like. Yeah.
So I, being 46, that's interesting because as a comedian, I write stuff about that. Mm-hmm. And I said, your 40s are for getting rid of friends that are a bit of a drag on you.
Yeah, friends.
Right?
The whole route.
And then your 50s are for getting rid of family that are a drag.
So I get to be a little bit ahead?
You're 4 years ahead. And then your 60s are for getting rid of everybody else. Because it's just ultimately, like, the games that are being played are, once you sort of clarify how little you need people, once you learn how to make breakfast and do your laundry, you really don't need anybody else.
Well, like, that was my thing before. I hated being on my own all the time, especially when my kids, I went through a period when they moved out and stuff, and I was on my own, where it was hard for a bit.
It's
and
blue.
now,
it can be blue.
Now, I'm so happy. I haven't worked for a few days, and I'm just getting up, making beautiful breakfast, making my matcha latte at home, you know what I mean? When you're just soaking in all the simple shit.
Yeah.
When you're just and you appreciate it all, right? There's no I don't feel like I need anything. You couldn't pull me in with.
No.
And I think when you get there, it's a pretty sweet place to be in life when you can fully.
Yeah, and you relax. The whole thing, when I left Toronto, I knew that what I was doing was setting my two sisters at each other's throat. Because
being there or leaving?
Leaving, because they were. I was buffering their reactions. I was, I was enough of a presence that
They didn't have to deal with each other because you.
I was a scapegoat.
Yeah.
So when you're the scapegoat, there's just so many variations, and they found every which way. One sister was way better than the other, and now we're fighting over my mom's will because they couldn't get together. So my thing is I'll be fine. I won't be fine financially. That ship may have sailed. But I also don't care. I was just in an old age home today, and I see how people end their lives, and all of it is predicated on saving for these last moments. Like, for fuck's sakes, buy a car and drive over a cliff. Like, get it over with.
Well, that's one thing. In, I think, 2015, I worked for a couple of years. I was like, I had my own business, and things went shitty for me. Like, I lost my stepson and like overdose and stuff like that. Things, you know, when life just kind of like throws you.
Yeah.
And I didn't even want to work for myself. You know, you
Yeah.
just. So I went and worked at this. It's called an independent living facility.
You're right.
Like old people.
Same thing.
Very low income though.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
on the. And I'll tell you, that was it showed me. I learned a lot.
I lived in an old age home.
And also like the difference in the different lives and what they made of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Their mindsets and just how some of them looked 80 when they were 68 and some of them looked 68 when they were 80.
In my mom's home, I stayed with her while she was passing, up until a few weeks before she passed. I was there for about 6 weeks before she passed for 3 weeks. And I was in there, and there was a guy who was almost my age. He was 2 years younger than me, and he just looked ancient. And this is at 57, 57, my mom. Yeah. So he looked ancient. And I was like, he had moved in with his parents because he couldn't cope living outside. So in a way, he gave up his life to satisfy, and there was a financial consideration. So now he's basically a premature elderly geriatric.
Well, and you can imagine how quickly he'd go downhill too. Like,
And he
just
has.
from that environment.
He was, he was 68, but he'd been there since he was 53.
Wow.
Anyway, those are the weird. Oh, they got a tripod. Let's see.
They know where it's at. Yeah, I haven't been out here for a bit. I have different spots that I go around, but
Are you still involved with that step parent, the other guy?
no. It took a while after. That was bad. That was what really did its number on me.
Right. Well, you're a good soul, And the other thing, look.
Yeah, but I learned there's a difference between being a good soul and, you know what I mean, being shit on, and like that's what you have to learn, right? No, it's all good now. He's living in Thailand. Like, to me, honestly, the way that it all ended, I got him back. I lost him when I left, and then I got him back because he went traveling. And you know what I mean? Everything worked out for me.
Right. Yeah. And if it doesn't work out, it's still
But that's the thing. You may not think I think things are always working out for us in some twisted way. A lot of the time, we just can't see it. But if you look back, there's usually a reason. Like,
yeah. So I'm watching the video, or not the video. I'm watching my wife and her sister talking about putting their mother into this long-term care. And I said it's a bit of a jump from her independent living situation to this, but the mother's got dementia, so in a way it doesn't matter where she is.
yeah.
However, I think on some level she does know.
You think so?
Oh, I saw some good light, by the way, through your lens there. I don't know whatever was showing. It might be that stretch there. Do you want to go over here?
Sure. I mean, this is the beauty spot through the trees and stuff. This is what
Keeps you coming back. I like those islands. I've had some good shots when the light hits there.
I've had some even beautiful stormy days out here with the clouds and stuff like that.
Well, yesterday when I was in the water,
where were you at? So you were out yesterday when it was?
Yeah, just before, like seconds before the storm came, or the wind, I was out there in the bay. So, and I got hit.
And it came fast.
Yeah.
And it would settle, and then it would just bam.
I got hit in the face, and there were so many great shots I missed because I don't have a camera when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And it was a see the silhouette of those.
Yeah.
To me, that's huge. I had something to drink before I came out.
What's that?
I had something to drink, like pee.
Oh.
Like. Fletcher, you're going to regret that. But I'm not going to stop you.
Oh, so Fletcher does have a name.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Fletcher the Wonder Dog. What are you doing? Why, Jesus. That's when you start speaking like a newt. Boy, Jesus. Boy, Jesus, my dog. What is it you happen to be doing? That's a pretty nice sunset. It's good enough.
When I first moved down here, I was living on, is it Cliff Road right up here?
Yeah.
The people would go to Thailand for half the year, and so I stayed there for half a year when I first moved down here.
Yeah.
That's when I totally fell in love with it down here.
Oh, I just got the shot. I got the
Did
shot.
you?
This will win some
I
award.
took a lot of walks. There's some beautiful views. We had done the trail down
That
that,
one,
and
yeah.
looking over here and stuff like that too. There were some beautiful shots where I was just like,
This might look good. I've never been on that side looking at the sunset on this side when the light's still hitting here. That might be interesting. These guys set up pretty quick. That was quick. You weren't here a second ago. Welcome. Welcome to our spot.
so today what I did finally, so last year was when I really started taking lots of pictures and stuff. And so I ordered some and just put them on photo cards, just on blank cards. And I had a couple people say that I could put them on consignment and stuff. So what it is I'm a landscaper switching over into like life coaching.
Oh.
So for me, winters are nice and slow. So I can winter's my time to play.
Right,
And like
So
stuff like that.
you've what do you call it? You put all the work in the silos, and you can live off of it. You overcharge people, I hope.
Well, I'm still learning that skill,
Oh,
but
good.
no, I like it is what it is. This year I had some like complications. Like I hurt my shoulder.
Oh.
I didn't work nearly as much, and it was one of those years where it seems to happen to me like every 5 years or so, where business is just like it sucks. Everything. It's like you have to spend all your money on.
Yeah, but you sound like you got your shit together. And the life coaching, what is that?
It's just getting going. So I've
Right.
only been doing that for a year. But it's a work from home thing. I do one-on-one sessions. I'm getting certain things set up where it's like digital products and courses. So like people
Yeah.
buy that, right?
Yeah.
I make it once and then they can buy
Yeah,
certain
yeah.
things
We
off
call
me.
that evergreen.
Yeah.
Those of
So-
us in the business.
So I'm working on that. Yeah, and then at some point, I haven't decided how to do it yet, but I'll have like some kind of my own community where people have like membership and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I've been working at that for, well, I've been teaching since mid 90s, and then I have all my students that I've not all my students. Some will contact me to do coaching. So I had a woman call me. She says, "Oh, I'm doing a big do in November, October 31st, Halloween." I heard it didn't go that well, actually.
Really?
Yeah, but another one was doing stand-up. So they call me and then we chat. But there's also another woman who's working on, if you had the right lens though, those would be really
Oh,
nice.
it looks gorgeous right now.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That's a lens thing.
Well, because the blue is really showing up off the water. Like the water looks nice and blue. The rock, the gray with the rock in front of it.
Yeah.
Blue, if you sit there nice, I could get your picture. Want to get your picture?
So this one I want.
Blue's pretty famous on my page. That's
Oh,
my
really?
dog's name. Yeah, everyone likes him. So, like, I'll put in my stories. What do you guys want to see more of? Blue. We want more pictures of Blue.
That's right.
You know what people are like with dogs,
Yeah.
right? They're like,
G'day.
yeah,
I have Australian roots,
yeah.
so I appreciate it.
Are you neurotic like him?
Turns out I am.
I love him, but he is the craziest. sky over. No, this looks gorgeous. Like
I like those clouds. Like if I had the right lens to get those clouds.
that's
Stuff like
just
that.
like not doing anything with it. Just
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. What phone do you use?
I think iPhone 15, I think.
I think I'm still at 14, but
I didn't by choice get this. Mine would have lasted forever, and I fucked up the charging port on it. I'm not sure what I did. I think I got water in it and then tried to charge it. You know how it'll come up with an alert like don't do it, but I guess it didn't like quit fast enough.
Right.
Because just randomly, it wasn't having any issues. Hey, come on, Jill.
It's so cute.
It wasn't having any issues charging, and then the next day it literally was just like nothing. Not
Right,
even.
right.
I couldn't even. There's no wiggling. There's no nothing. Phone's dead.
what you can do, I wonder if that's being shocked. But, what if it does get wet? Then you do the rice thing.
I've done that, but this was something different because
No,
I've
'cause
done
you
that
would-
lot. Yeah, because it got hot. I think
Yeah.
it like fried it.
Yeah.
I've done the rice thing lot. Literally, I got the phone, went down to a swim lagoon like 3 days later. He bumps me. He loves when he gets tired of being
Right.
out here. When I'm taking pictures, what he does is he comes back and he starts bumping me.
Right.
I drop it in the water.
Yeah.
Brand new
So
phone.
sad.
So I like ran to London Drugs, got some isopropyl alcohol.
Yeah.
Because that's with the salt water what you have to worry about because it
Ah.
screws up contacts, the salt.
So then it's not water and salt, it's alcohol. and
So
salt.
then, yeah, I cleaned it out, put it in the.
Pretty good.
I'm getting experience though.
So you can run Apple Intelligence on that.
Mhm.
Maybe,
Maybe.
I don't know. I think on the 16 for
Luke,
sure.
get up there and let me get your picture.
Apple's doing another thing where they make something available only to the highest level of
Getting
users.
these phones.
Yeah, and they hurt themselves doing it actually, I think. But this is not a conversation about Apple. Oh, there's a nice boat out there, see?
Oh yeah.
Again.
No, it was definitely a nice picture. Nice night for pictures.
And it's not really night, that's what's bothering me. It's 4:48 or whatever it is.
Yeah, no, I liked it.
Right. So, yeah. I'm interested in you selling by consignment. I've yet to do that myself.
Well, the reason I know is because I used to do woodworking before when I lived at my old house and stuff.
Right.
I used to do it with my ex. He kind of got me going. My dad had a lumber mill, one
Right.
of those portable ones, so he'd get me cool wood,
Right.
like spalted maple and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah,
that. And I would just play. And so I found a shop in a tourist area, and they let me put my stuff there. They took 30%,
Right.
so I just had to make sure I hiked it up enough, and
Right.
I did. I was just doing simple, like, cool cutting boards with cool, funky
Right,
shapes and,
right.
like, carving stuff out and stuff. And it was selling like hotcakes.
Why don't you do that anymore?
I don't have a space now. Now I'm living in like a one-bedroom basement
I
suite
have
with
the
like.
space.
Yeah, I
I do.
don't. I have like my space is very limited.
Maybe we talk because I have a shed
Well,
16 by 20.
Really,
Yeah. And I do blacksmithing. So
that's very cool.
it
I've
is-
always thought my great grandpa was a blacksmith.
I remember him.
Yeah.
No,
Now you've
never
got a
met-
spot in Duncan where there's a horseshoe in the ground downtown where his shop was. Which has got it like you can still see it.
Right. What's his last name?
Shaw.
Appropriate.
Yeah.
So I'm related to some Shaws.
Really, my mom's a Shaw.
So the Shaws I'm related to, one of them was in the movie Jaws.
Really.
Yes. I did a play about genetics, my genetics. And I found out through my process that I'm related to a woman on Ancestry by the name of Penelope Sylvester, but that descendant for Priory Shaw, and her father was Robert Shaw. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is that everybody's got that story. They just have to find it.
Yeah.
You,
I haven't done that. Some of my mom's relatives have dug into it. I don't really know what they found, but
right.
some of them have started like checking out family tree and stuff.
Well, there's an interesting thing that happens because you know how we talked about the birth order, like being in a family, and
So what is your birth order?
I'm third.
Oh, I'm the oldest.
Right.
So it's my job to make peace, make everyone happy,
Right.
be responsible, be the good kid.
Right. Fuck that.
Yeah. At a certain point, fuck that.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Like, you're not responsible for anybody else. They are
Well,
responsible for
and I
themselves.
thought I never looked at it until things fell apart for me, and I saw like there was no one around. Like,
No one
not that
came
I
to you.
asked because I had too much pride that I'd never done that, but there was not one person that was like, "Are you okay? Like,
Stepping up.
can we help you? Like, hey, like you're almost homeless. Can we like,
Right.
you know?"
Yeah.
Nothing. And that's when I really was like, okay, you really gotta start looking at stuff and look at this pattern.
Yeah.
Like,
Right, and that's a thing, that pattern.
I specifically do inner child work. So it all goes back to especially the first 7 years of our lives,
Mm-hmm.
like when we're in a like a theta state to where we're like,
Yeah.
that's when our everything is just,
What can absorb.
yeah.
Right.
And that's where we come up with our beliefs, our patterns, our and all the stuff. So when people are really stuck in their lives and they like, maybe they recognize there's a pattern but they can't,
Yeah.
that's when I'll help them, and I help them go back to the root. And
So my stand-up teaching is very much like that, in as much that I work with rhythms. So the theta thing makes sense to me. I actually do this when I'm
oh yeah, when
I'm
you're
working
up.
when I'm working with them.
And does
And-
that help move nerves or anything out of you? What does that do when you do
Well,
that?
I'm doing it for them. It's almost like me playing a drum, but I'm not playing a drum. I'm just a rhythm, and I want them to go to a trance-like state,
To
so
where
that-
they're just in flow?
all about flow. So, and then I used to run a room called Rants for Rent, which is the same thing. I didn't care. I made a bunch of rules, like you couldn't repeat yourself, you couldn't come in with old material, you couldn't bounce off other.
Challenges them.
Yeah, I take basically I was squeezing the pimple. I said, you're gonna find ways to try and evade, but let's talk about what the 10% that you won't talk about. That's where the key is. That's where
It's true. And that's what actually, even when I started going into coaching, there's this one woman I hit it off right away. I was like, there's something about her. She's cool. She's quiet, but she's got like a powerful darkness. And she wanted to do free one-on-one sessions with each other. And what she pointed out right away after the one session, she was like, there's a few things there. And she's like, and they're gonna hold you back until you go further into them.
right.
Because if you can't go there, it's just going to hold you back from being vulnerable and sharing your story.
Right.
And because your story is what's going to,
Well, and that's the only thing people have.
yeah.
Like-
And so now that's the other thing, is I'm a podcast guest too. So I go on people's podcasts.
Okay, that's really funny too.
Yeah.
So we were meant to meet.
So
the-
that's, yeah.
When I first met you, I was going, I know her.
Yeah.
Like I felt
A
your
familiar.
energy. Yeah.
No, there's definitely people pick up on energy and
Well, and the other thing is, so I've been trying to do a podcast for forever, right? But the thing about, I have stand-ups that are all over the U.S. and Britain and stuff like that really flown the coop and done really well. One's coming to Victoria to the Royal McPherson this week,
cool.
and I've got my messages out that I would go and photograph her, right? We'll see what she says, but she may, like, they don't have to love me anymore. Like,
So
they're
what's holding you back from the podcast thing?
mostly the guests, like, who are they? And also, where are they? Because I'm here on Vancouver Island. All my contacts are in Toronto.
See,
and
we
LA
do
and stuff like
everything,
that.
like all of the podcast shows I've been in, it's all just over Zoom and
Yeah,
online.
I know.
And it's, maybe it's not the same. Maybe it takes away from the energy. I'm sure it does.
Oh, I'm sure it does, but
But at the same time, it doesn't. Like, I can tell you, like, my coaching calls, like my son, he was going to start going to counseling.
Right.
And he's like, well, I want to see someone in person. I was like, that's cool. I said, but you could keep in mind that you might be able to find something, like, you don't have to leave the house, more reasonable
Right,
price
right.
or whatever.
right.
And he's like, I just don't know if it would be the same. And I said, I can tell you from what I'm doing with people, it does not feel like we're in a different room.
Right,
Like
right.
when we're going into it.
When you're totally connected, you're connected one way or the other. That I completely agree with. I actually, one of my thesis is to do one on the unacknowledged. So people who don't get acknowledged, either they're famous and don't get acknowledged for other parts of themselves,
Yeah.
or people who are not famous who
But
are,
you see
are in
the-
the background doing
Yeah.
things for other people, that with a bit of acknowledgement would heal them to some extent.
That's cool.
So that's one idea, and then the other one is to just banter, like fun banter stuff.
That's neat.
So I have all that at my disposal. I'm dealing with my own health issues, so that's one of the reasons I'm running in the water and trying to just deal with what I can do for myself before I have to be diagnosed as this or that, because that's all coming down the pipe. I'm 62, right? I'm not. When I was 40, I was playing hockey 5 times a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want that. I need to get to. I have to have the fitness of a 40-year-old to be able to handle the next 20 years.
I can see that.
Yeah, and then the mobility and that. So I had the hip operation. So I'm dealing with it head on. I'm not hiding from anything, except the colonoscopy, oddly.
Yeah. No, and that's not uncommon. That's something that a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a thing. Well, colonoscopy. What's the other one? Prostate. Whatever's coming. And also today's the anniversary of a friend of mine who died at 60. Like I have so many friends
just brings everything
falling off the planet. It brings it up, but I also, it's a weird level of acceptance too, where I go, you know what? We were watching you make these choices back in the day, whether we judged or not. Someone else was judging, right?
Yeah.
You got what you deserved in a way, and that's not to say that they deserve to die, but they didn't slow down when I slowed down, or they didn't back off. I never drank really. I can count on I've drank probably 40 times in my life, like drunk.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not a lot when you consider that people were drinking every day of the week for years. So when they fall off, when they start having troubles, you might think, well, maybe you could have made better choices, right? Anyway, you get the point. The birth order thing, what was I going to say about that? From the family tree stuff, you realize that there's 7 kids born to a family.
Yeah.
2 women stay with the parents their whole of their lives, and they're treated in a way. They've got mad respect, I think, but they're also not regarded in any way. If that makes sense.
No,
It's sort of
it actually, I think of my grandma, and she had 8 kids, and I think of actually even the dynamics with that, and who stayed at the house, and actually they were treated like crap. And when like she passed on in the household, it was just like, bye, like get out of here.
Right.
Like,
yes, and people would have manipulated them that way and whatnot. So, when I got out of my family's life, in a way, in a manner of speaking, I knew that when I was coming here, I asked my mom for permission. She was fine with it. Meaning I wanted the understanding that I knew she was going to pass, and she knew she was going to pass. She knew that I had to leave. And I wasn't running from things as much as we just wanted to find peace. And there was peace here. So, anyway, it's an interesting thing. I think I have to pee, and I'm going to do everything I can to succeed at that.
the moon's coming out a little bit, the little clip of it, so I'm like,
Oh, good. Okay, I'll do my thing. I'm going to use this bush over here.
as a blind.
Yeah. Hey, hey.
How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Been doing good these days?
Yeah. I'll be.
And this is birds too, if you think about it. Birds and That's what's cool about it. Well, I did that. With birds.
No. Oh, blue. I had a blue merle dog called Fly.
Fly's
Still-
a cool name.
Yeah. Well, it's a border collie name, right? So the shepherds always used one syllable.
Oh, is that a thing?
Yeah.
We got him in an interesting way. So my sister was helping take care of this elderly couple. He was a vet. She was a vet assistant.
Right.
He was older, and so she was helping out. Anyway, he passes away. They'd had all kinds of dogs, like Dobermans and
Yeah.
everything. She gets him to help her when she's grieving. She thought it would help, but she can't handle him.
Right.
And he's like peeing in the house, like she couldn't house train him. And so she puts him outside in a pen with the Doberman that just bullies him and
Right.
actually kind of ruined him in a lot of ways. And then so we got him when he was like 11 months old. And he did really, really good. But then I left a year later. And then from the 2 years from when I got him back, there was definitely some quirks that developed.
Right.
He had a couple little things, but none of them were like, they were just weird.
So is he a Sheltie or is he?
He's a mini Aussie.
Right.
I mean, he's a great guy. Like for me, just being single on my own, no kids and stuff like that, he's fine.
You're right.
But he's got some anxiety. Like tomorrow he's going to the groomers and he used to be
groomer?
fine and he's developed an issue.
Yeah. I saw someone
To the point to where I have to drug him tomorrow before we go.
Right.
And he used to be fine, and then he started getting nervous about going there. But she also hired someone else, so before there was no one else working in there.
Right.
And so there's more dogs.
Right.
And to the point to where last time I couldn't get him out of my truck into there. So we had to
Right.
reschedule. So this time, that's why I actually got that harness for him.
To carry him around.
Yeah, to get him, to pull him out a
What do
little
you
bit
got?
easier.
What are you eating? Two
So
can
we
play
shall
that
see
game.
how that goes tomorrow because
Where do you take him?
she's really good. Normally it's Sheer Bliss and it's in like right by Tilcombe Mall. Like she's actually like an energy worker and stuff like that, and I couldn't figure out how she did so well with him for so long, but then it made sense when I realized
Like Reiki and stuff?
yeah. So she has a way, like her, you know what I mean? She kind of knows how to deal with him. But somehow his trust has been broken or something's going on. At first it started with him peeing when we walked in, and he hadn't done that before, but I knew he was really nervous and shaking. And then last time I couldn't get him out of the truck, so.
Well, look at, there's another shot.
Oh yeah, because the colors are coming up over on the other side now.
Craziness.
So yeah, with the consignment thing, it's just a matter of making sure that you put your prices up enough that it's worth leaving it somewhere. And
What do you think the prices are?
I haven't decided for a card. I'm not sure, because I've had people say from my Instagram that they would like buy stuff off me. I don't know how to calculate shipping. Shipping's crazy.
So
you have to like hike
we have to talk, I think, because I'm being approached by this guy to do a website with him. And it's crazy expensive. And there's a woman named, do you know Andrea Cross? She's here on the island.
I recognize the name.
You'd see her stuff.
And is she a photography?
Yeah. She's okay. I mean, her stuff is okay. It's very generic bullshit. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's.
Yeah.
Because I do such, what's the term?
I love how different yours is.
Yeah.
Makes me want to challenge myself and figure out what my thing is.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like that's the thing, because otherwise, I mean,
Well, I'll give you some math about it.
okay.
I won an award. When I looked at the number of images on Lightroom that
Yeah.
I had processed, it was 220,000 images.
Yeah.
It could have been 1 million, could have been 100,000. It's a fuck of a lot, right? And then I win for, I entered in 2014 and the image was taken in 2010.
Yeah.
And it was a guy having been boxed and on the ground. That's the image, right?
Yeah.
And they said, oh, you've entered in sports, but we think this is more feature. and you probably would have won there as well because it looks like a Raging Bull scene.
Yeah.
And I just put it down to it took that many images. Like that's how many points there are on that line to success.
Yeah.
And even then, the next image that would ever win, which hasn't happened yet, but had that happened, would that be 60,000? Would that be 50, 30, 20? Either way, it's a lot. And so that's if you win an award. But at the end of the day, the award isn't really what matters. What matters is we're hanging out looking at this, you know?
Well, that's like, I come home after doing this and I have the best nights. You know what I mean? Like, that's my thing. That's
Right.
why what actually gets me out. Like, yeah, it'd be cool to have a couple cool photos to share after or whatever.
Right.
And to play with, but
So how old are you?
46.
So I think, I mean, you've got so much time and you've started early.
Well, and I have time because, like, everything's open for me, too. That's the thing, right? Like, I kind of can, and it's a cool place to be in.
Like in a situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can see it and I appreciate it.
Well,
Like, I open Lightroom and look at my, and I mean, I remember last year, it would be like 3 hours later, I look up and I look at the clock and I'm like, holy cow. But I do love it.
so what I realized with my photography was everything I ever do is sloppy. There's a sloppiness. So I either fight it or I go with it.
Okay. I like that.
And when I say sloppy, I mean, I'm not interested in telling literal truths. I'm interested in telling the truth. So the literal truth is what you write on a piece of paper, that 10 words to describe peanut butter or whatever. But if I tell you it's smoothie, it's crunchy, it's right? Is this you wanting to go? Everybody knows, Blue, what you want. Blue, I know.
That other dog will stay over there until you're ready. It might make its way over, but it looks like it's happy over there right now.
Oh, he wants to
it's
play?
fine. Well, he's being protective too. He's letting
Right.
it know that you come over here and
Yeah, big news. Big things are happening.
my mama's pretty special.
Yeah.
Hey, are we pretty tight? Yeah, we tight?
Oh, Blue, you got a girlfriend. Yeah. So, yeah, that sloppiness. Even when I perform stand-up, I don't try to get it
Make it
word
polished?
perfect. No. Have you ever done expression drawing? So if I'm drawing you, right?
Yeah.
If I'm
You just don't try too hard. You just
I just move.
Yeah.
Again, we're back to flow. So it's the flow that matters more, because what I'm really translating is the flow. That this is this and this is this. This is energy, and expression. I've shot on my camera, I've shot open, like manual lens, and I move the camera around like this and I overexpose it, and all I'm looking for are lines,
yeah.
because that's what expression drawing is.
Yeah.
And then when the guy's smiling, it's bigger than if he was just smiling
I get
flat. And so, like right now, you could draw this and you could get the impression. You wouldn't need to be exact. Do you know Trey Ratcliffe or Ratliff? I think it's Ratliff. There you go. Look at that. So Trey, so he's one of these guys. There's an island up in Tofino near Long Beach, and it's just off the beach a little bit, sort of like one of these things. But he's getting all these questions from photographers, and they said, those rocks in the foreground, what lens did you use? And he goes, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Who cares? I said, what do you mean? What? You can shoot while I'm talking. And he goes, well, I was just wondering, we were just wondering, was it a 30 mil 28? He goes, man, you guys are trying to divide the atom. You're trying to split the atom here, and all that matters is you like what you see, right? Like it doesn't matter that it was a 1/20th of a second. Like maybe that matters a little more.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, You're never going to measure those. You're never going to measure those rocks. All you're going to ever see is this image, unless you go exactly where I'm going, and then you're just taking the same picture that I did. So why bother?
Yeah.
I've been in the water with the seals a little bit. So I come out to about on the other end of this island sometimes in walking, and at there it's about 8 feet. So you lose your footing. You have no. I love coming out here. And then in the summer, when you can get to, I still don't know when low tide is, but when you come out on the low tide, you can, from here is ocean, and this is bay.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've actually walked out from there before.
But what I mean is that the temperature of the water is
Just so
it's
warm.
cold and fucking cold,
Yeah.
right? And I love going out in when it's. I just go and I just let the cold water do its thing. Well, are you staying?
No, I'm ready to go.
I like walking that way. You want to go?
Sure.
Okay.
Lou, you ready to go?
I'm gonna